Welcome to the latest edition of The Blend. My name is Steve Benz. I have got the ultimate treat for all of you. He's been on the show a couple of times. He was on the show a year ago with the Retro Futura Tour. He just showed up on Forbes magazine today. That's how famous this guy really is. Let's welcome Limahl back to The Blend. Limahl, how are you, my friend?
Hi, Steve. Hi, great to be back. And great to talk to you using technology. Isn't it wonderful?
He is on the other side of the pond. He's on the other side of the pond. And next time we will have video for all of you, but just not today.
Yeah. The last time you and I talked, I think it was just on the phone, right? But now yes. I can see you.
Yeah, you could see that I'm bigger than the square. I really am. So... So how does it feel?
You've got hair and everything.
Isn't that surprising? You know, you get to see me and I'm not this ogre or anything of that sort. So how does it feel? You've got the brand new single, which we will talk about in a few minutes, but you show up on Forbes magazine. That has got to be just a ride right there.
Yeah, on social media, I thanked them for the feature and I said, I look forward to qualifying for your top 400 rich list.
Now that's funny. That is pretty funny. So how does it feel? I mean, you're back in the limelight. You've got all these phone calls today. And frankly, do you enjoy doing the pressers?
Well, I have to, and I'll tell you why, Steve. The music business is basically controlled around the world, really, by three conglomerates. And if you're not with them, it's very tough. So you've got Sony, Universal, and Warner Music. Mm-hmm. And they even control the most important playlist on Spotify, New Music Friday. About 80 or 90% of the artists are from their labels, which kind of makes sense because they give the music to Spotify or they license it. It's very tough. For an artist like me, I don't think without the technology, I couldn't have released a record. So I think if I'd gone to those conglomerates, they would have slammed the door in my face because they're more interested in, the 20-year-old artists who they think might have perhaps a longer career than someone of my young years.
And let's face it, technology has changed it all. Could you imagine if you or Kajagoogoo showed up in 2020 as a band and how different that might have been?
Yeah, well, it's never been easy. It's never been easy. Of course, we can go back and tell all the stories. We all know them. 8 record companies turned down the Beatles. Yeah. I remember reading an interview with Huey Lewis, and he said everybody turned them down. Mm-hmm. Culture Club were turned down. Kajagoogoo were turned down by about 5 labels in London. And the list goes on. It's never easy because I think for radio programmers and also for people who work in music, I think they're coming at it from a sort of more corporate angle. Mm-hmm. They don't hear music the way real listeners do. It's like a theatre critic who gives terrible reviews to shows because he has to go twice a week. It's his job. When I'm going to the theatre, I'm meeting friends. I'm having a meal beforehand. It might be a special occasion. We're in a good mood because we're going out. We're excited about the show. They're seeing it from a completely different perspective, the wrong perspective, I think. And it's the same with people who work in music. It's very tough, very tough. Not for us, because in a way, I'm a musician, you're a DJ, we're music lovers.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Yep. We're non-corporate.
Yep.
So I think I'm having a moan. But it's fine. I'm very excited to have, the corporates are partly responsible in a way. Your Netflix,
sure,
your FX, your big American TV shows are the reason I really went back into the studio to record something new.
So was it specifically for this song? Was there a project? Is there a CD attached to this?
I just thought I'd dip my toes in the creative water and see what happens. When my online streams went up from 300,000 a month to 1.5 million.
Wow!
And I knew it was a younger audience.
Sure.
I thought, well, I'll give it a shot. So I've got some new music. I'm already planning the second single. There will be at least an EP, I would say.
Yeah.
An album, I don't know at this point. Maybe next year, an album. So I'm just kind of feeling out the situation and seeing how I feel about everything.
And you don't really need an album anymore. Technology now says you only need a couple of singles to essentially make it back. Don't you think?
I mean, it's such a different world we live in now. And I stream myself, you know, it's wonderful. The choice that we have at our fingertips, always with us. I mean, could you imagine I have several playlists on the streaming sites, and one of them says playlist 1, and it's just got like 500 tracks. Could you imagine if I was going on holiday and you want to take your 500 records with you? You'd fill the car.
Isn't that the truth? And even me, for who I am, and corporate radio always dictated what I was supposed to play. Most of the time, I didn't even know what was coming up next. I would just be prompted. And with my voice being online I was one of the early adopters. I have more fans around the world than in my backyard because of this. Who would have guessed that? Because I'm no corporate guy. I've got no I look like it because I got a corporate haircut, but I'm not.
Yeah. Well, the technology is amazing, isn't it?
It is.
We're all benefiting from it in many ways. I mean, imagine the pandemic without the technology. It would have been, you know.
It's an amazing thing what has happened. Now, I would assume that you're staying safe wherever you are. Are you near London? Are you not near London?
I'm just putting some eye drops in, slightly dry eyes. I left central London 5 years ago.
Okay.
I've always lived in apartments, flats, as we say here. And I wanted a garden. So I'm 2 miles outside of Greater London in a place called Hertfordshire. Mm-hmm. And I love it. When the pandemic started, I just returned from performing on the X Factor in Denmark, in Copenhagen, a beautiful city. And then it all happened. I'm fine. I'm touch wood. I'm safe. I went and I got my mother from 300 miles away and brought her down to stay with me and my partner because I didn't want her to be alone. She's lovely. My mum, Cynthia. She's 82, and we haven't killed each other yet.
That's funny. That's pretty funny. See, my parents are in their 80s too. So we both look at them, both you and I, and sometimes I just shake my head. I said, and you're my parents? I feel like the parents now. So, because my mom will not stay home. She's like, nope, I got to get out of the house. She'll get in the car, and off she goes, no matter what I tell her, no matter how many masks I insist that she wears. But they are our moms, right? So are you more like your mom or your dad?
Oh, I'm definitely more like my mom. Yeah. But if I turn into my mum, I'm horrified because she has the most idiosyncrasies and quirks.
That's funny.
I discovered things during the lockdown about my mum. Yeah, anyway, let's not go there.
Oh, my goodness.
I love her.
Well, did you learn something new about yourself since the quarantine? Something that you did not know about yourself?
Boy. Let me think.
Like some people took up reading, didn't know that they loved reading as much as they did. Some people started singing. I mean, was there something that just jumped out?
I think I did discover that I cannot stay away from dark chocolate.
That's funny.
In fact,
the
fridge. Or do you say the refrigerator? I just couldn't stay away from it.
Oh, my goodness. That's funny. You got to get one of those fridges that are Alexa, and it tells you to walk away. How about that?
Oh, that sounds like fun. I'd probably ignore it.
You would. All right, so let's talk about this new single. And the last time, let's see, you had a new single was that Christmas song, which I love to death. I play that every Christmas.
Thank you.
Was that the last track? I think it was, wasn't it?
Yeah. And that was a re-release. Mm-hmm. I actually did that song quite a few years ago. And this year, the lyric in that Christmas song would have a totally new value talking about a trip to meet someone, going to the theater, being a tourist, all of those things in the last few weeks anyway. I mean, obviously, we got to see what happens by Christmas 2020, but I was thinking about that. I might re-release it again because I think culturally, there's a really important value in that lyric now. It's got even more relevance than it ever had.
You should. And then on the cover of the CD, you can put me on there. Okay, maybe not.
With your corporate hair.
Right. And, I used to have, I just got my my hair cut today. It was actually, the mullet was back. The mullets from the 80s.
Yeah.
Or at least, as what I call them, they were French. They were called moulets. Okay, so I had the moulet back. And my girl just like chop, off it went. They're gone. But I can never let go of the 80s. Never.
That makes the haircut sound so much more exotic. Moulet.
Exactly. That's what I tell my own kids. It's the moulet when they look at the picture. I'm like, no, it's French. It's French.
There was a book published about the haircut mullet, and some people got quarter of a page, some got a half, but guess who got a full page?
Yeah, I know. I know you did. Did.
Yours truly. I think my mullet was deserving of a full page, though, right?
It was. There's no way I could have had my hair like yours. No way. No matter how hard I tried, there was no way. Something to be proud of, don't you think?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, my hair's different now. I look pretty sad going around with the same haircut from 37 years ago. I'm just grateful that I've got some hair.
That's true.
That's true. This stage of my life. The guy from Flock of Seagulls is bald.
Yes, Mike. Yes, it's all gone. Mm-hmm.
It's all gone, and nothing wrong with that. They say bald men are very virile, and it's all about the testosterone, etc. So good luck to them. But I'm glad I've got my hair. Being an 80s pop star famous for his hair, I'm glad I've still got some.
Right, and the pictures are still out there. Now this new single, "Still in Love." I have listened to that at least a dozen times, and I have to tell you this. All right, I listen to a lot of music. I get so much stuff sent to me. Your voice and my thought, and we'll let you jump in this. I just thought to myself, though, the first few times I listened to it, what fantastic choices you made for the notes that you used. And I thought if you did that, if it just came out, or were you thinking about what notes you were going to hit as you sang through the song?
Oh, boy. It's very organic, My co-producer, Mira Marcus from Germany, lives in Berlin. We went back and forth with files, swapping ideas until we both felt that we had something that we could move forward with. I flew to to Cologne in Germany to record the vocal. And then I did some guitars in London, which I sent to him. He did an amazing mix. He is a producer and a mixer. What I like about the song is I like the fact that it's this journey of our protagonist. He's in that, that painful place. He's hurting in love. But we stumbled on this kind of, it's an accident. We stumbled on this feeling of optimism in the chorus. And you just can't plan for that. I think as songwriters, we're like people you see on the beach with the metal detectors. We're searching for treasure. And sometimes you find it, and most of the time you don't. I think we found a little treasure in this recording. And I say recording, that's an important aspect, because to me, a hit song is about, it's never just about the lyric and the melody. I do think it's about what's involved instrument-wise, what's coming at you sonically. You ask about the melody. What I like about the verses, most people are familiar with my voice. In Too Shy and Never Ending Story, it's quite note heavy at the top end of the scale for F sharp, G. In the new song, in the verse, there's one line, the second line, where I sing quite low. People have not really heard that before. So
very true.
Night I can't sleep, 'Cause I'm thinking of you. That line, which reoccurs on verse 2.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a bit of my low register, which people haven't heard before. And I actually sing higher than Never Ending Story on this song in the middle.
I didn't notice that, but I did notice, you going down in your register. And that's what caught my ear. And I thought, wow, this guy's a different singer now from what I recalled from our past discussion and the past tracks. So this is me complimenting you on, I remember you when you started, when I was on air as well, way back then. And then now, it's kind of like, what growth? Is that something you think about? Is it something that you practice? Or is it just essentially just happened over the years?
It's a bit like a leather jacket. I think it's better if it's a bit worn in,
Okay.
It is a bit worn in. I mean, crikey, I've been singing for 40 years. I started in theatre. When you're doing Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dream show, code 8 shows a week, you kind of find out how your instrument works. From there, I went into Godspell, the musical. Again, it was 8 shows a week for 1 month.
Wow.
I give credit to. I'm going to give credit to my co-writer, co-producer. I think he got a really nice sound on the microphone.
Mm-hmm.
We worked hard. I mean, singers of my age, 39, we can get into bad habits, one of them is too much vibrato.
Oh.
And so we still have to work at it. I appreciate the compliments and the good feedback, but I still have to be on my toes. It's not just happening easy. Doesn't just happen easy. I have to really, concentrate. I mean, it's wonderful with technology now. I can do as many passes as I like at the song. Sure. It's often how they're recorded now. You do 10 takes and you just get the best line from each take. And that way you get a superb performance using the technology.
Now, there are 2 other singers out there that after I listened the 12th time, I kind of put you in that category now in terms of how you sound now versus what I remember on vinyl. Now, I've had Martin Fry on my show many times and Tony Hadley as well. Mm-hmm. That's what I heard when I listened to this. I kind of went, my God, Limahl can sing what Tony is singing and what Martin is singing now, which, I don't know if you would do that before, but that's what I heard, that kind of range and how Tony talked about his voice and doing covers. And I thought, my God, you could sing the same stuff Tony has been singing for years.
Well, that's a huge compliment. I'm a fan of both of them. Yep. I mean, ABC's first album
was superb.
AB's Lexicon of Love is still high up on my all-time favorite albums. And Martin's lyrics are amazing.
Yes.
Again, you got that combination of brilliant production with Trevor Horn, the British version of what's his name? Your big American producer, Earth, Wind and Fire, Celine Dion. I can't think of his name. Chaka Khan. He's done everybody.
Okay, I know who you're talking about, and we're both showing our age because we're both paused, going
What's his name? Oh, I'm going to think. Foster.
There you go. Right. David Foster.
So Trevor Horn is our British David Foster.
Yeah, there you go.
And, on that ABC album, it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
You see, if you were a good singer and you in the 60s and you signed to Motown, you're immediately walking into a fantastic creative team. If you were an artist and you walked into the Sound of Philadelphia label, you're walking into a fantastic team. Me with Never Ending Story, working with the legend that is Giorgio Moroder. There's always a team, a really good team, and I think that Tony Hadley and Spandau Ballet, again, it's a team. With ABC, it's a team. They're both good singers, both good performers. I've worked with them both. Yep. I toured I took, yeah, the Retro Futura
Right.
tour
You were
was
with Martin.
ABC.
Yep. That was amazing. That was amazing stuff. So let's make sure we talk about the new song,
Yeah.
Still in Love. You got
Yeah.
coverage all over the place. I'm telling you, it is going to march up the charts very, very quickly. How excited are you with the release? And how long did it take you before you, I thought I read that this was ready to go months ago.
Yeah, we recorded it last year. I shot the video in January, just before the lockdown.
Oh, okay.
And then when the pandemic came, I just thought, oh, the world is falling apart. No one's going to be interested in music. And my team, a couple of weeks later, came back to me and said, Limahl, there's going to be such a need for culture, for movies, for TV, for music. Everyone's going to want to hang on to what we used to know, you know, our normal life, our real life, our before life. So, yeah, I said, okay, let's do it. But it did delay things. So the video was shot in January, and here we are in June, so 6 months. But it hasn't affected, you know, the time it doesn't sound dated or it doesn't feel dated or anything.
Not at all. I'm really excited about it. So I'm glad it came out at the perfect time. I see people out and about today, and I thought, you know, I can't wait to be able to play this song.
I'm smiling. The people can't see it. We're on cam. I'm smiling. You know, I'm 61 years old, and for to see all this coverage on the socials, the feedback's been amazing. People are calling me an icon, and they're complimenting the voice. It's just it just makes me feel amazing, and it is giving me the strength, really, to the encouragement to do more because of the warmth that's out there. It's fabulous.
I'm going to give you reasons to come back even more, okay, after this interview. So we'll talk about that. Here is the brand new track from Limahl. It is called Still in Love. You are listening to The Blend.